Hi everyone, Stefano here, SottoZen YouTube channel. Welcome to the second part of my personal project, this Hong Kong takeoff. This is a little project that involves different techniques such as 3D camera tracking, green screen filming, compositing, and of course 3D animation inside Blender. And in this second part I will show you how to import and animate the spaceship. We have these two collections here, the tracking object collection with all the animated elements that are nicely following the camera movement. And in this second collection, I simply put the camera so I am able to eventually hide all these tracked elements without losing the background image. So let's now select the scene collection and go here, File, and Append. And I choose this spaceship collection, and this nice model I didn't make, I bought it and downloaded from cgtrader.com. I will provide the link in the description if you are interested in purchasing this same spaceship here. It comes with its metallic material and these nice looking sci-fi textures already applied to it. I only have to make some adjustment. You can see the scale value is very low and also the rotation has to be applied. So Ctrl A, apply rotation and scale. Also what I like to do is to change the display mode to sphere, and I will increase this to 20 or even 25. This doesn't change anything in the hierarchy working at all. It's only a visual help for animating the spaceship later. It will be more comfortable to me to have this object that makes me visualize more easily how to rotate the spaceship. And another thing that I have to do before we can continue is to put in the right hierarchy all these laser gun elements here. So if now I rotate this element, it will be rotate only by itself. I want this object to be child of this, same here. And then these two will be child of this body here, and finally the turret will be parented to the base. I always use this option object keep transform to set the parent, because all these elements are already inside an hierarchy, and if you don't do in this way you probably have some positioning issue. So now if I select these two elements, you can see that they will move correctly, and I will be able now to animate this laser gun in the way that I need. So now that we have our spaceship into our tracked scene, we want to scale and position it in the right way. And we have this tracked plane object that's more or less the size of our rooftop, and we can use this as reference. So I want probably also to rotate and then align the spaceship to the grid floor, and I think I want to have the spaceship somewhere around here, probably bigger than this. Yeah, something like this should be fine. And if we now try to move the animation, we can see the spaceship following nicely the tracked scene, and we are now ready to animate this takeoff. So I will animate this controlling object, inserting location and rotation keyframe at the first frame, and 4 seconds later, 100 frames, I start to move it up and rotate a little bit the body of the spaceship, and it's now just a matter of personal taste and trying to give the idea of this big spaceship to live in the ground a little bit, rotating and prepare to fire with the laser gun and then fly away. So I will speed up this part here. It's me only inserting and editing keyframes and function curves until I get with some satisfying result. And now I will also animate the laser gun, because I need it to shoot at myself when later we will insert and composite the green screen action. And also here very basic animation, only some keyframes for rotating these elements. And I will speed up also this part. And now that we have our animation in place, we want to model a plane object that will be covering the roof space the best that we can. This object will be a shadow catcher, and this is because even if in this scene the weather was so cloudy that essentially we don't have any visible shadows, I still want to have some contact shadow, some ambient occlusion that comes from the spaceship in order to better integrate it in the scene. And finally, for the laser shot, instead of compositing later in After Effects, I decided to create these two simple cubes and animate their scale value, as you can see here, in order to make them appear and disappear in the right moment. And then I assign to them a simple emission shader. And doing this and rendering using cycles, I also get this nice reflection on the spaceship body that helps to integrate all the elements in the scene. And I also created this 2/2 UV sphere with another emission material assigned to them. This time I choose an orange color. And animating the Z-scale value, I add some light to the spaceship during its takeoff. And this will be very useful later in After Effects in order to easily add some cool glow effect to our scene. So we finally are ready for the render process, and I just forgot to mention that I lit this scene only using this HDRI image, this Post-Damer Plus 4K. I will provide the link in the description, by the way. Okay, one important thing is that because I only want my spaceship to be rendered, I enable this transparent option. And that's because we will composite this animation later in After Effects. So let's choose cycles as render option. Because we have the shadow catcher and the reflection, we want this to be rendered in cycles. Of course, GPU compute, if you have this option available on your machine. I turn on the denoising option because this will allow you to have less render time and still getting a really good quality image. And one last thing, because we need an alpha channel with this render image that we will composite later, we want to choose the PNG sequence as output render file with the RGBA option selected. And I also check this 16 color depth option because I think it's good when later dealing with color correction and compositing. So finally, select your destination folder, give it a name, and you're ready to go. Let's render this animation. Okay, I'm going to stop here with this second part, and in the next and last one I will show you how to deal with the green screen footage and how to make the final editing to this sci-fi scene. I hope you guys enjoyed this so far, and if so, please leave a comment or a like, or simply subscribe to my channel if you didn't do it yet. Also, be sure to visit my Patreon page and consider joining my program to support me and my work even more. You will have instant access to a lot of Blender files and 3D models associated with my tutorials. Also, every month I organize 1-hour live streams only for my patrons, where I talk about Blender tips, character animation, VFX, and I directly answer to your questions. And let me close this with a special thanks to my patrons so far. I really appreciate your support and enthusiasm. And to all of you, as always, thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and see you soon with another great video. Ciao!